Hey there! Do you like comic books? Do you like superhero TV and movies? Well, come on over and check out the Capes and Lunatics podcast. We have such shows as Capes and Lunatics and Super Connectivity, where we cover everything new and current and popular in the world of superheroes. And we also have episode-by-episode reviews of the Marvel Netflix shows and a monthly discussion of everything current on the DC Comics character Nightwing, and a few other surprises all the time. So come join us for the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hi, this is Doug Moench, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 186, and it is a last quarter moon. If you have a look up into the night sky, you can see that whatever the last quarter looks like, a little bit of a sliver of a moon, there it is. And that means that Khonshu has decreed it is an Over the Moon segment, which is an arc review. And tonight we'll be looking at High Strangeness by Doug Moench and Marc Texeira. Limited series issues 1 to 4 from 1998. I am your host.
High Strangers, right? Sorry, I'm butting in.
No, that's a mistake apparently. The covers showed the wrong title, and everything else apparently showed. Yeah. I'm one of the High Priests of Khonshu, Ray, and as you've heard, returning to the show is fellow High Priest of Khonshu, Rebecca. Hi, how are you?
Hi, sorry to butt in, everyone.
No, that's all right. That's good. That's the first thing I always think of about this series, Rebecca, that apparently, I used to always call it High Strangers as well, but apparently there's a whole thing. It's kind of like Stark Wars. You know how that was called first?
Yeah, but like if it's on the cover and it's on, like, I don't, like, why, how does anyone know it's wrong?
I know.
Like, who's renamed it and where's it renamed?
Well, it says High Strangeness on the first inside page every time. And apparently someone's made
notice.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, someone's made the call that is the correct one and not High Strangers. So a bit of a weird one. Just quickly, our sponsors as well, a gracious thank you to the Patroonies. Thank you so much for throwing some coin our way. And a big thank you to Daniel, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Russell, and Anthony. A huge thank you. You too, Patroonies, Loonies can become a Patroonie as well if you just check out patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. Big thanks to Hello Headphones as well, and to Dreamland Comics. Rebecca, it's a bit of a strange one. It's tainted.
Totally insane. It's totally insane story. That is like
it is
Star Trek levels of absolute. Let
Bonkers.
me just say whatever to make it sound like it might make sense.
Yeah, it's very. I think Doug Moench. For me, it's got a bit of a Doug Moench hallmark in the fact that he really does. His earlier writings, more so, he really tried to tie in multiple threads, a lot of characters, a lot of elements in here, and we get pretty much this in High Strangeness or High Strangers.
Yeah, sorry.
It's I don't know. I always call it High Strangers, but I'm trying.
I just say whatever I see on the front. I don't pay no attention.
That 4-issue arc.
But there's a lot of content in there. Like,
there is,
comic
isn't there?
Felt really long. I kept admittedly to everyone, I had to read it kind of at speed because I didn't have a lot of time. I was like, how many chapters are in each one? They're divided into 1 to 2 page chapters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those chapters were my saving grace because then I knew whenever I was up to chapter 9 or something, it's like, this is ending the first one, and then I can go, I'll make it. Because again, readers, similar to Rebecca, I had to do a quick reread. It's been a while since I have read this as well. And I was thinking, actually, Rebecca, while I was reading through it at speed, this would be good if I could take my time with it, because there's a lot in there. It would be good to just absorb it all.
But then as it went on, it got more bonkers. I was like, no, I'm actually kind of all right. Like, and you know, I'm not knocking it. It's actually a perfectly good little mini. There's just a lot thrown at the wall, and then like at the end, you're just like, okay, we get the idea. Someone's doing this and manipulating minds, and you know.
Oh yeah, you can strip it down to there's basically just a couple of elements here, but it's all dressed up with so much other stuff.
I do love seeing how much of the cast you get to see. I love seeing like, you know, like having Frenchie and Gina and the whole bunch. You get to see Mark as Stephen and as Jake, and you know, like it's really got a bit of everything in. You know?
Well, I mean, I've got a question which I'll leave to when we get cracking into it. But it just with, I guess, the time frame of what I'll put it out now. The company. What is the company? Is that, Rebecca? Is that this? Was this his CIA days they're talking about, or is this his days?
I think so.
Okay, otherwise I thought it's his days when he's working with the committee, or he got engaged by the committee.
No, I think it's CIA.
Okay, which is really cool because you don't see many CIA adventures.
I know, and it's really nice. And I guess when we were talking about the TV show, that I don't know if they'll ever play back on that CIA role, because that is something we've not really had. Like, we've had characters that have got mental health issues, but we've not really had that kind of, and we've had characters that have been mercs before. We've not really had that mix of like CIA merc. You know,
not at all. No, I mean, we've seen him in
that'd be a really interesting thing to sort of bring in.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have seen him. I think we will see him as a merc. We know a bit more of his military days, but that CIA aspect has totally kind of been forgotten. So.
And I did like that about coming to this, is that I like that feeling of like, I like the feeling of his past in it, and the past not tainted by the other stuff, like even having his ex and talking about his investigation abilities and stuff like that. Definitely seemed to tap into something, but then it just goes absolutely bonkers.
Well, let's get Looney's. We'll get some details out of the way before we get into more of these bonkernesses. So we are talking about Moon Knight. It's Volume 4, officially issues 1 to 4. High Strangeness, released December 1998. Writer Doug Moench, penciler Marc Texeira, who does also the inks, colorist Steve Oliff, letterer Ken Lopez, and editor Glenn Greenberg. Now, this is also available in floppy format. I'll be reading it from my hard copies there. Rebecca, you've got yours, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Digital, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And I think it's on Marvel Unlimited too. So plenty of ways that you can get it. It hasn't been collected into a collected edition yet in anything, but hopefully maybe down the track. Now, loonies that don't know how we do this, generally we'll go through a bare bones, which is kind of like a summary, generally ripped off something like Wiki or using ComicVine tonight. And then Rebecca and I will, since this is an arc, we're not going to go through issues 1 to 4. We're not going to scrutinise them. We're just going to go holistically, bounce through ideas, and then we'll end with a moon rating from each of us. So Rebecca, as always, we've got the vanilla rating or Khonshu's patented rating system, so we can choose either or. Now, Rebecca, the synopsis, courtesy of ComicVine, is a little bit of a long-ish one. Do you mind splitting it up? Would you mind doing half?
No, not at all. Yeah, go on. When do you want me to start? Do you want me to start, or do you want me to start?
If you can start, maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, first 5 paragraphs, and I can do the other 5.
Okay. Someone is trying to assassinate Marc Spector, but before he can find out why, the shooter kills himself. Crawley informs Marc of strange experiments being conducted on homeless people, so Marc investigates and discovers that the company is behind them. Marc contacts an old colleague and fling, Candace Calder, who still works for them, and arranges a meeting, much to Marlene's dismay. During the meeting, Marc's shot at. After taking chase, the assassins also kill themselves. After the attack on Marc and Candace at the aquarium, which is where the attack takes place. The assassins kill themselves rather than talk. Now Candace tells Mark about implants in her brain, mind control, and the CIA's plan to create perfect zombie robot killers.
Awesome.
The red dragon tattoos found on the assassins lead Candace to believe the man behind the plot is Alistair Ravenna, the Red Dragon. He may have opened a portal to another dimension in the late 40s, allowing aliens to come through. We really have everything here.
We've got everything.
Everything. As Moon Knight prepares to go to the scene of a crime where symbols identical to those in Candace's notes were found, he's attacked by Marlene. After attacking Moon Knight, Marlene's revealed to have the red dragon symbol on the back of her blouse. She escapes downstairs, but Moon Knight encounters Marlene without the symbol, unaware of what just happened.
As Moon Knight investigates the symbols at the warehouse crime scene, Marlene is attacked at home and supposedly implanted with the same chip in her head as Candace. Mark takes Marlene to a hypnotherapist where she reveals that she was abducted by aliens. Meanwhile, Candace has been kidnapped by Red Dragon, who is still alive and apparently unaged from the 60-year-old photos. She's about to be killed when Moon Knight arrives to rescue her. Red Dragon flees, and as Moon Knight chases, he comes across a real flying saucer. After Moon Knight frees Candace, Isaac Roslin is able to take control of his mind because of their close proximity. He reveals that the Brotherhood of the Red Dragon, led by Jermaine Royce, are behind the plans for mind control. As Frenchie and Marlene approach to help, the helicopter crashes. Frenchie calls Moon Knight on the radio, and the signal interferes with Rosalind's control of Moon Knight, allowing him to break free. After defeating Rosalind, Moon Knight is in for one final battle with Jermaine Royce, the Red Dragon. Yes, so Loonies, if you haven't read this, that probably still would leave you baffled.
I mean, what have we mentioned? Zombie robots, aliens, mind control,
there was
CIA.
There wasn't even any mention of Loch Ness Monster, which is in there as well. So
Loch Ness Monster's in there, Mothman's in there.
Yeah, Mothman.
I jokingly sent it to a friend who's really into Mothman. I was like, is this Mothman's first appearance in Marvel? I have no idea if that's true or not, but it's definitely it's just totally nuts.
It is. Yes.
And individually, that's not joking it. That's individually reading it. It's actually all right. I quite enjoyed it. But there's a lot of who's mind controlling who, that because we've seen a lot of mind control-y things, we're like, okay, it's all mind control at this point. But you're not really, the alien abduction they leave kind of, is it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strange because, as you say, Rebecca, so much is thrown at you. And the mind control thing, I think, is done well in the fact that, there are a couple of tropey bits. There's that bit where Royce gets that guy to kill himself just so you can see the mind control working. It's like, oh yeah, you need to stab yourself. Now kind of twist it to kind of sever your aorta. Yeah, there you go.
And also the why there's another Marlene is a little bit...
That was weird as well. The Tulpas, right?
The Tulpas, which, this is somebody who's watched a lot of X-Files writing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's you also have these doppelgangers that are being controlled, and
It's
but
weird.
It's actually remarkable that it's still a decent story.
Yeah, it's amazing that amongst all that information you're given, Moench does kind of follow through with what happens. And I think if you strip it down, basically it is, and there's a bit of a vagueness here. There's what's his name? Alistair Ravenna.
Yeah.
He wants to take over the world. He may or may not have opened some sort of portal, but essentially he's found a way to mind control people with a chip. They say it's in the nose, right? And that could be exotic technology from the aliens, but he's using it to control people, to rule the world. And that's basically it. There is a bit of confusion as well, because Moon Knight is... people want to kill him first, and then they don't. And he even calls out, going, look, they don't want to kill me now? What's going on? And apparently they changed their mind. They think he could be useful, a patsy, a scapegoat, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of things kind of working here with Moench. And in around that as well, Rebecca, we talked about the CIA aspect, and I liked the little tidbits that Moench puts in, like the drop-off point, which seems very Secret Service-y. And also that the code he always talks to Candace in, like what was it? I'll see you forever in a minute. At the first place we met. Yeah,
I met you at the first place we met and stuff like that. And obviously, it's kind of nice to see Marlene get a little bit jealous.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, which is good. I mean, Marlene was interesting, I thought, in this. It was because of that different dynamic of Candace coming in. I like the introduction of Candace as well. I'm glad to say that she didn't die, so she could potentially come back, because she's a link to his CIA things. And that's a question, I guess, again, Rebecca. So the company, as you mentioned in the synopsis, so are they part of some sort of, is that like a covert ops of the CIA?
Because it seems that's just what people in the CIA call the CIA.
Okay.
Because they can't talk, they can't say they work for the CIA. Isn't that a standard film trope?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyone in the CIA refers to it as the company.
Okay. Oh no, I missed that. I thought maybe.
I think that's what it is. I think it's because you're not allowed to say you work for the CIA, so they just refer to it as the company. Yeah. And then it just became this thing.
So the CIA is still doing pretty dodgy things, though, with, what's his name? Roslin?
I thought you meant in real life. So, yeah, probably they are. I don't know.
They could be. But, yeah, Isaac Roslin, who works for the company as well, we see that scene. He is confronted by Moon Knight or Mark, and someone shoots Mark at the back, and he kind of loses consciousness. And then he's implanted with something in his nose. So Rosalind is definitely a antagonist in this, but he seems to be just a staff member of the company. So
yeah. I also thought it was quite when he found out that the psychiatrist was dodgy. That was kind of good. That was a good scene of like Mark just sitting down at his desk, flicking through his things and going, "Oh, look, this is Lynn Rose is kind of Ross is kind of Rosalind backwards."
It was, and there was actually a pretty funny remark he said, because they were talking about sinus implants and stuff, and Mark ends that scene with, what does he say? He said it's pretty funny. He just says something, "Get it up your nose" or something like that. But I thought I had a little chuckle, because it's like, Doug Moench.
It is very
he's not he doesn't mind the odd humour in there. So I don't know. I think this was interesting. I love the mind control aspect, and the fact that the radio waves of Moon Knight's cowl. I loved how Moench used that to be the saving grace here, to disrupt those the close proximity. What do they call it? There's a anagram to the whole radio controlled mind control thing. So Rosalind has
it's ridiculous one as well.
It doesn't even spell a word, I don't think.
No, it's just dumb.
Yeah, but basically it's a remote control that they click onto it and they can control you. And Rosalind asks Mark or Moon Knight to slit his own throat. He's about to. Again, I do like the little point as well that it doesn't work totally well with Moon Knight. So they're figuring he must have either really strong willpower or he's got some sort of, something. But he doesn't seem to be as compliant, with his nose mind control thingy. So I like that little thing, which is a bit vague. You don't know whether it's just Moon Knight or he's got some extra power.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's kind of there's so much going on.
There is, yeah.
But I like Frenchie playing a good part, and
He did, yeah. I was a bit worried then that he was going to be severely injured again when the helicopter crashes. I thought, here we go again.
No, he comes and saves the day. He's fine.
He comes and saves the day. He's left on the lawn, just kind of, from a crash plane, but that's okay. And I don't know, Candace. So she gives these sensitive documents. So she's basically leaking this information, which puts her at loggerheads with Jermaine Royce, which is why they kind of want to kill her. at the end. But yeah, so yeah, I'd love to read it again, Rebecca. I think it would be good to, just to kind of really absorb it. It's
it would be a good one to do issue by issue, actually.
It's not hard to understand. It's just that there's
just a lot in there.
Yeah, so many ideas. I think this is what happens when you have all these ideas come in. And even that thing with Marlene, you don't know whether there's that big flash of light, and she's saying I'm abducted by aliens. So you don't know whether these aliens are. She's talking about owls, but they're actually those grey aliens with the big eyes.
Yeah, and there literally is an entire page of Loch Ness monsters.
Yeah, exactly, as well. That was one of the things. I did think that issue 2, though. Issue 2, I think, for the most part, was just Marc and Candace in a diner.
Yeah.
The whole issue was just them talking. There's a lot of exposition in that.
But it was actually done really well, considering that,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I wonder, reading issues 1 to 4 straight after each other worked really well. I wonder how it would have been received.
I'd have just forgotten what happened. Only racist. Just gone, was this really what I was reading a comic about?
Yeah, exactly. But what do you think of the art as well? Marc Texeira, he's no
I actually
stranger.
Really liked it. I thought it was good. I think, and the colouring was very nice. I think there was some nice backgrounds in there, some interesting paneling. I think, if anything, the lettering. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was just really generic, fine comic lettering, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, I really like the art. I think there's some good fight scenes in there. Lots of butt shots. But hey.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of butt shots.
We got some topless Mark. That's all right. Yeah. We've got a lot of butt shots of women, but also a couple of men. But they weren't wearing anything quite as tight.
Yeah, true. Just looking at it now, I'm just flicking through, say, issue 2, and of course, so there's a lot of script from Doug Moench, but also if you look at the layouts, Marc Texeira's, he's packed it in with panels, and
the layouts are really nice. They change a lot as well.
There's so much overlapping, and
there's a lot of different styles, and having to get some of these short chapters out there, and that's very good. And I like getting to see all of the personality, all the alters. I like seeing a lot of Marlene. It was good.
Yeah, and you got a little bit there on Crawley as well.
A little Gina Crawley scene.
And Jake there, which was pretty cool. Interesting to note that, this is 1998, so this would have been the first time, I think, Texeira really took on Moon Knight. We see him later on in the Benson run, which I mentioned in the previous episode about God and Country.
There's some really funny bits where Mark's obviously surprised.
Oh yeah,
and the little white eyes. They go really huge.
Yeah. You see, Bill Sienkiewicz do that. A little here and there, but it is fun to see because he's generally kind of really. They
usually like slits and then to all of a sudden just be these little round. They just look almost cartoony, but in a really cute way. Like I keep going,
Yeah, I think they're very.
He looks like a little Jawa for a minute.
Yeah, very cartoony is how I put it as well. But yeah, I mean, you can even look issue 3, the cover. You see Mark's kind of eyes are a little bit agog there as Marlene tries to strike him. Really fun. I did notice also issue 1. The first establishing shot of Moon Knight is actually the artwork they used for the Walgreens exclusive Moon Knight figure
nice.
Packaging, which is really nice. Some would say anatomically it looks a little weird, like Mark's waist is non-existent, and he's he's like very very top heavy.
Bit, yeah. He doesn't have much of a butt in that one.
No, not at all. He's kind of a little withered. But having said that as well, Texeira, I think he plays really well with the cape. Taking from
there's a lot of great cape work.
A lot of flowing
it's
crescent.
A very big cape.
Well, very at times very big, and at other times it's kind of normal again. But very cool. And as you say, the colours were very well done. It's got that dark feel, which is I guess, how you want that modern Moon Knight. But they do change up. I mean, when we go to the, say, for instance, the aquarium, there's a nice green tinge to it, which holds for the whole scene as well. And it's interesting that only for a short time they reckon it might be Bushmen behind this. So I like that kind of a little nod. At least you know that Bushman is meant to be. Again, people that don't know Moon Knight go, okay, Bushman's meant to be one of his arch rivals, but it's not so in this case. What did you think of Ravenna, Jermaine Royce, as well as a villain?
I thought it was pretty, it's like they almost wanted to do Alistair Rowley.
Yes, yeah.
And Alistair Crowley.
Crowley,
so
yeah, with the darkness and yeah, he was good. He was an interesting character. I would be interested to see the Red Dragon come back in some iteration. I mean, if it touches on this thing of supernatural / alien / mystic thing. Again, it fits in really well with Moon Knight. I think he can play a lot with that, and he does seem like, apart from his mind controlling technology, I guess there's not much to him. But he's pretty callous. I mean, there's certainly the callousness. So he's evil. He would make a good villain, but interesting to see if he'll be used again. Like I said, I'd love to see Candace Calder return.
I'd like to see her again.
Yeah, in some capacity. But the other guy, what's his name, Rosalind, he kind of bites the dust. So that's
he's
not
much
much.
Not as big a deal for me.
Yeah. So So I mean, apart from that, I don't know, Rebecca, any other final points before we?
No, I'd say, despite what we've said, I definitely think it's still worth reading. So.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know. Do you want to go first, Rebecca, or I can go for moon rating systems here?
I'm gonna do a vanilla one. Do 3/4 moon.
Okay, nice. And from that, it's a good 7.5. Nice one. So, listeners, a 3/4 moon. It says it there on the tin what that is. 7.5 out of 10. I went for a little bit higher. I'm going for Khonshu's rating system. A big, beautiful yellow man. So a good 8 out of 10. I really do think that this is a strong issue. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear if Loonies out there what you think. Not only because it won an award, but it did actually. The series did win an award.
Did it?
Which
one?
Back in the day, I can't remember, but it did. I should have done my homework. Oh my god. Maybe I'll look it up and someone will tell us. But it is an award-winning storyline, and that's not the only reason why I gave it a good mark. And I just found it really enjoyable. A lot of ideas. Maybe you have to kind of get used to the Doug Moench sort of writing, because he does go all over the place, but he does have a strong plot line that goes right through to see you towards the end. So an 8 out of 10. Interesting to hear what other loonies may think of this. It's only very short, as you say, Rebecca. It's 4 issues, but it seemed a lot longer. Yeah. So, okay, there you go, Loonies. That no feedback for this because I wasn't able to get this out. And to be fair, Rebecca and I, we are recording a little ahead of time. So I wasn't able to get a discussion thread out there. But
sorry about that.
No, that's all right. I'm trying to get ahead of the game here, Rebecca. Trying to get a week's in when I can. Yeah. But we did get some feedback. I want to shift to our night lines now. From YouTube, there was feedback from our episode 182, all to do with the Walgreens exclusive action figure. And this is from CMK7. So great to hear from you, Chris. He goes, great looking figure. The body is just a bit too sinewy and thin to be perfect for Moon Knight, in my opinion. I understand they use the Spider-Man 2099 body sculpt. Oh, I didn't know that, which is not ideal. Moon Knight, which should have more bulk to his build. But a nice figure of Moon Knight overall. I agree, definitely not a toy for young kids, and there is so much articulation in the figure. It feels brittle in the hands and takes some care and patience when you try and pose him. A big thank you, Chris. Yeah, that great to hear. It was really fun for me and Noel to go through and open our boxes for the first time and go through those figures. Interesting, yeah, about the body sculpt. I didn't realise the Spider-Man 2 that he does have a bit more of a lean look to him in that one. Rebecca, do you collect the figures, or are you?
I don't know. I have other figures, and I have a couple of Moon Knight ones, but not religiously.
Yeah,
like I pick them up if and when I see them and I can afford them. Like I've got the Pops. And I might probably get the Legends one at some point. But it's just a case of they're always so expensive, and I know, but I just like, if it comes down to comics or action figures for me, I tend to go comics.
Oh no, for sure as well. And this was a Walgreens exclusive, so.
But I do have like a display case full of little action figures. They're just a lot of other characters with some Moon Knight in there.
Oh, nice. Are you going to get the... you shared that thing on Discord about the zombified Moon Knight. Are you going to get that?
No, I'm not. I do not like the zombified ones. I think they're pointless. I'd quite like an Arachnite.
Yes, me too.
Over here, so I might get an Arachnite because, as you know, I love Arachnite. So.
And he looks good. Just very good costume design.
It's a really good costume. Like, he wasn't my favourite of the Infinity Wars, but it's a cracking costume.
Yeah.
So... I might get that, and I'd quite like the Legends one at some point.
Yes, and who knows? I mean, Rebecca will probably get, touch wood, fingers crossed. After the TV series, we'll get. Well,
they've done them for all the other TV shows, so I might just wait and see what comes out then.
Oh yeah, they have, haven't they? Did they?
Yeah, we've got WandaVision ones, and they've just released the Falcon and the Winter Soldier ones.
Really?
Oh, the WandaVision ones are great. There's a black and white one.
Is this the Funko Pops?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That looks really good. Yeah, with Vision in his hat.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, no, Funko Pop's definitely going to go for that. But yeah, I went for this one. It looks good. I did say on the review, I still kind of prefer the Legends. Definitely Shelby inspired one, but happy I got this one. That was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Chris, for that as well. And just another short, sharp response on Facebook page again for that episode 182 about the action figure. Jack Russell Moran. He says, "Fantastic figure." Thank you, Russell. That speaks volumes.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. No, thank you. I know Russell's a big action figure collector, so I'm sure I would have been surprised if he didn't have it on his shelf. So a big thank you there, Russell. Well, again, loonies, that about wraps it up for this episode 186 at the end of the week, rounding it off, and a big thank you, Rebecca. It's been a blast.
It's been great.
I think next time, if we come up with an arc, I thought we're going to get like a nice short one here. We're 4 issues.
It is pretty short, but it's just a lot in it.
There's a lot in it. I was kind of like going, okay, this is there's a bit more to it than I thought. But no, a huge thank you. It's always great to chat, and thank you for earlier in the week. Had a good chat about the Disney Plus TV show coming up.
Yes, right.
Speaking of TV shows and all that, I know that you are busy as well on another podcast. Are you keen to give that one a shout out? The DCAU?
Yes, it's we're going through all the DC animated films in order of their release, and it's called the DCAU podcast. And we just recorded Superman versus the Elite, so that's where we are in the timeline. So
how are you finding the journey so far, Rebecca? Because I know that you're not a huge DC.
Yeah, fan. Interesting, but I feel like I have to either be in the. I think it took me a while to get into the vibe of watching a lot of animated films that were aimed at people younger than me.
Yeah.
But no, I'm actually enjoying them. It's been nice, and it's given me a lot of comics I now want to read and characters I want to read more about. So it's been quite good for that. But I don't know shows me exactly how little I know. So.
Yeah. Do you think that is detrimental to your viewing, or
no? I think that the films are made exactly for people like me who know nothing.
Okay.
And it's kind of good that some of them have made me want to read comics. So.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool. Well, definitely check it out. Loonies, I know that my co-host from The Last Sons of Krypton, Superman podcast. Connor has been on there a few times.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a listen. I've got to catch up on. Actually, I'm getting into animated series, and
you should come on.
And I love to watch. I love to watch them all. This Elite one that you told me about, we had a little chat beforehand.
Yeah.
I never knew that they made one, so it'll be cool. And also, Rebecca, I wanted to just a little shout out your other podcast, The Sons of the Dragon,
Immortal Iron Fist Sons of the Dragon. We have a new Iron Fist series, so we're going to start recording on that next week.
How cool is that? Have you got it already?
I should arrive in the post. Well, I arrived in the post yesterday because COVID has made the post a lot slower than normal. I just got reminded that this new series dropped this week or last week or wherever. Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. So I've got to go grab it as well.
It's going to be awesome.
Keen. Should be so cool. And then as loonies as well, just have a read of that series and then jump onto Sons of the Dragon and have a listen to see what these guys think of it. Rebecca, Connor, and Carl think of it. It should be a good listen. So once again, thank you, Rebecca. I hope I haven't taken too much of your time. It's always good to have you on. If there's any other, I'd love to have you on for, if you're time willing and all that.
Yeah, no, we should definitely do some more, especially in the run up to the TV show.
Oh, don't worry. I'm having you, and I want to get in touch with Khonshu as well.
Yeah, let's do our old timers. No,
old timers. No, that'll be great. I mean, in the lead up to, as you say, we've got a long way to go, but I'm sure we can, pop some episodes in there. Hopefully, now that Khonshu, he's doing really well with Wine Mums. Really, really cool podcast. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. We'll force it.
Our next phase, Looney's next phase. Actually, the next week there'll only be one episode. It is because it is a new moon up in the sky next week, and that means it's an Isla Ra session. So that usually takes us just a little bit more time to do. So instead of having the 2 episodes in the week, I know we just started doing that, but for Isla Ra sessions, probably just do the 1 episode in the week. As for the guest, we'll keep that under wraps, but you'll hear about it just before it drops. Don't you worry. As mentioned at the top of the show, if you consider becoming a patroonie, please jump onto patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. Check out the incentives there. I've just chucked up a video of a previous episode of me and Noel opening a lot of plastic crackle as we opened our action figures there. So you can see that. That was a lot of fun. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Just listening is greatly appreciated as well. Sponsored by Hello Headphones. If you use the code ITK Moon Knight, you'll get 10% off their online store. And Dreamland Comics, if you use the code MOON, you'll get 20% off their online store. So any of the back issues, if you want to get High Strangeness, High Strangers, go check them out. They can get you a good rate as well. Affiliate members of Entertainment Earth, so any of your action figure needs, Funko Pops, Hasbro Legends, it's all there. If you use the link in our show notes, that will kind of help us a little bit, be much appreciated. And finally, we are part of the collective. So many good shows out there. If you love your podcasting, love your comics, check them out. There's a wealth of really cool people with knowledge, comic book fans. So the likes of Sons of the Dragon and Immortal Iron Fist podcast, the likes of EMP, Earth's Mightiest podcast, and Atalan Rising, a comic book podcast.
Yes, they're all awesome.
They're all very good, and definitely you'll come out of it just learning more and wanting to read more comics, potentially spending more. Which is a good thing. And finally, where you can find us on email at itkmoonnight@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. Get vocal. We've got a website. We're on Podchaser. If you can leave us a rating, that'd be great on Podchaser or on Apple Podcasts. That will just help us get out to more loonies and help spread the word for the show. Anyway, having said all that, it's been so much fun. Thank you once again for listening. And may you just keep on enjoying, whether it is a lot of snow your way or blinding heat. Just make the most of it. It's all good. It's all fun. And as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.
You got a few Aussies in there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
When you go back and listen to it, there's definitely a few cries.
Oh, well, they've been missing out on those, so it's good to have some Aussies back.